everybody. My name is Genevieve Rayom, and I am going to be your MC tonight. I am a board member of ASHA International, and I am so excited for the 2020 Celebration of Hope. We so wish that we could be with you guys in person tonight, but we thank you for joining us virtually. That is the theme of 2020, that is for sure. During the global pandemic, I'm sure all of us here, or many of us here, have realized that one of the most serious challenges that cuts across all physical and cultural boundaries is mental health. I'm sure you've heard that if you've seen the news, if you've seen articles on social media. A lot of us feel isolated right now. The work of ASHA International doesn't stop even during a global pandemic. In fact, it is more important now than ever, and that is why we are so thrilled to have you with us tonight for the 2020 Celebration of Hope. Tonight, we'll be showcasing all the work that ASHA International is doing, even during quarantine, during the pandemic. And you'll hear from one of our storytellers, Natalie Robinson. We'll also celebrate the recipients of multiple awards. We have the Hope Bringer Award, the Mental Health Hero, and the Champions of Change Award. We will distribute those awards today, and you'll get to hear from all of those who received those awards as well. It is definitely a very special moment. We hope these stories inspire you to donate. We hope it shows you what we do and why we do it. And it helps us, your donations, that is, helps us fund the life-saving work that we do at ASHA International. Because we are virtual, this is the good news. You can donate from your couch, from your kitchen table, from your kitchen, wherever you are right now. You can donate anytime throughout this entire Celebration of Hope, or even after the Celebration of Hope. But we're going to give you the rundown as to exactly how the donations work. So you'll find a link to donate in the chat box there, or you can visit myasha.org/give. If you would like to pay by check, or you would like to make a pledge, then we're going to ask you to please call Ashley Schmidt. You'll see her number right there on the screen for you, 503-267-0146. Course, you can also mail a check to ASHA International. The address is right there on the screen as well. We'd also like to provide this opportunity though. If you would like to make a pledge, but you are not able to do it right now, please pop on into the chat box, send us your name and the donation amount that you would like to give, and we will follow up with you later with that pledge. So if you can't give, you don't want to log on right now, just pop on into that chat box and do it that way. That's the benefit of a virtual Celebration of Hope, I guess. Nike employees and other employees who have organizations or that you work with who will match your donations, we're going to ask you to please donate through that portal. Don't donate here tonight. Instead, donate through your portal so you can get that matching donation. And then if you can, again, pull up that chat box and then chat us the amount so we are able to count it into our total tonight. So if you're able to do that, that would be incredible. Of course, you can also as well call Ashley. Again, her number is right there. You can email her. We want to make sure that your total, your donation, your pledge, whatever it is, gets counted in our total tonight, because we are striving towards a goal of $40,000. And specifically, if you are Nike, Nike again is matching gifts on Giving Tuesday. That's December 1st this year. So again, pull up that chat box and chat us the donation and your pledge tonight, and then we will follow up with you closer to Giving Tuesday. So we're able to get that gift from you. And again, like I said earlier, if you want to make a check or a donor advised fund, please chat us your name, donation amount, and we will follow up with you after the event to make sure you have all of the information that you need to make your pledge later on. Before we get started, I want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with what's going on here. I know this is virtual, it might be a little bit different than what you're used to, or maybe you've attended a lot of events like this. But as a participant, your video and your audio are off, so don't worry about all of a sudden popping up onto the screen. We can't see you, you can only see us. You can, however, again, use that chat function to say hello to everyone. This was really cool during the Grit and Grace conference that we had just about a month ago. People were chatting in the chat box, saying where they were coming and tuning in from. So if you want to say hello, you want to let us know where you're tuning in from, or what inspired you to join today, just pop into that chat box and do it that way. Just make sure you select all panelists and attendees if you want everyone in the group to see your chat. Of course, we want to thank our sponsors. We simply cannot do what we do without them. So tonight, we'd like to thank Northwest Women's Clinic as well as LifeQual Center. They are essential, and they have been continued supporters of our mission, and we cannot thank them enough. And now I am so pleased to welcome our founder, the wonderful Gayatri Ramprasad. Gayatri, I know it's been a long week for you. It's been a long couple of months for all of us working through this. So thank you so much for being here tonight and persevering through all of that. And let's get this started.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Genevieve. Hi, everyone. I could not be more delighted to be here with all of you this evening. Yes, virtually, but still delighted to be here with all of you. Thank you all for joining us. Every year, I look forward to celebrating the impact that you have helped us create in our community and share our plans for the year ahead. Although we couldn't meet in person like I would love to, I'm glad we're here virtually together. Over the last 7 months, the COVID-19 pandemic, the racial injustice, and the wildfires, if you're here in the Northwest in the US, all of these have taken an incredible toll on all of our lives, including our mental health. Now more than ever, it is important for us to share our struggles and support each other with love and compassion so we can all be resilient through these difficult times. Thanks to the help of our board members, our sponsors, our supporters, and all of you out there in the community that are cheering and supporting us every step of the way, we are able to pivot our programs from a in-person programming and events to a virtual online format since the pandemic hit. And I am today delighted to share that we have had the opportunity to reach out and touch the lives of more than 5,000 plus people during 2020, despite the lockdowns and the social distancing, with a resounding message of hope and well-being. Thank you to all of you. We've accomplished a lot this year, despite all of the difficult circumstances that we are experiencing, but there is so much more to do. Children and adolescents are experiencing increased mental distress during this pandemic due to disruptions in schools, activities, and maintaining social and physical distancing. Teen and youth anxiety and depression are getting worse since COVID lockdowns began in March. Early studies suggest, and many experts say, they fear a corresponding increase in youth suicide. At the end of June, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention surveyed Americans on their mental health. They found symptoms of anxiety and depression were up sharply across the board between March and June compared with the same time the previous year. And young people seem to be the hardest hit group of all. Almost 11% of all respondents to that survey said that they had seriously considered suicide in the past 30 days. And for those ages 18 to 24, the number was 1 in 4, more than twice as high. These numbers are staggering and sobering. 1 in 5 US children aged 6 to 17 experiences a mental health condition each year. 50% of all cases begin by the age of 14 and 75% by the age of 24. And suicide is the second leading cause of death among people, or children aged 10, as young as 10, and between the ages of 10 to 34. At ASHA International, we are dedicated to educating and empowering our youth to cultivate resilience and well-being and preventing suicides, one story at a time. Thanks to the generous support of our sponsors and donors and storytellers for making it possible for us to educate and empower 4,314 youth to cultivate resilience and mental well-being in 2020. The Let's Talk About Mental Health program is a free peer-to-peer mental health education program that is offered in schools in our community. And we are so delighted that 94% of the students participating in the presentation say that they would recommend the program for their peers in every school in the community. And the second of our youth mental health programs, the My Story, My Superpower high school clubs, are a student-led initiative to normalize conversations about mental health and inspire hope and well-being, one story at a time. During the 2019-2020 school year, we piloted 3 high school clubs, and we are so delighted for the incredible impact that these students have had in the community. And so we are planning to expand the outreach and, add at least 3 more clubs in the 2020-2021 school year. I'd like to take a moment to honor every one of our youth storytellers for their courage in sharing their stories to give hope and change lives. Audrey Steele, Becca Miles, Eric Martz, Hannah Kane, Hoda Abouaj, Jackson Buell, Molly Vanderwerf, Natalie Robinson, and Yamini Rajan. I'd also like to thank our board members and storytellers, John Boylston, JD, and Diane Kaufman, MD. Both of them are board members and storytellers, and they have been presenting programs within the legal community and the medical community to change the culture surrounding mental health within those communities. Thank you, John and Diane. Thank you all. I'm delighted to share that ASHA storytellers, Natalie Robinson and Jackson Buell, presented the Let's Talk About Mental Health program at the Beaverton Health and Science School. And the students at the school created a short film for the PBS NewsHour student reporting labs titled Battling Suicide Through Storytelling, which won the Well-Beings Award. Dear friends, it is my distinct honor to share the short film with you now.
I truly believe that stories, empowering every person living with a mental health condition to stand up and share their stories, will lead us to a world where there will not be any stigma or shame attached to mental health conditions. Asha literally means hope in Sanskrit, one of the world's most ancient languages that originated in my home country of India. And in English, it's an acronym for a source of hope for all. And that's exactly what we do.
That summer was the worst summer I've ever had. I stayed up in my room. I'd lay up there and think, why did this have to happen to me? Why couldn't things have been better? Why couldn't I have been better? How come I couldn't manage all of this like I used to be able to?
Jackson's story has definitely a unique power to itself.
My depression fell worse and worse and worse.
There are not very many young men on our storytellers team, or men of any age, very few men on our team that are willing to share their story. And it really, really highlights the fact that it's so much harder for men to talk about their mental health than it is for women.
But I couldn't bring myself to do it for some reason. It was because of what my father had taught me growing up. He'd raised me under the code that you were to never hurt yourself or anybody else. And as much as I didn't want to believe him in that moment, I still couldn't bring myself to do it.
When I watch Jackson present and the way young men at high schools respond to his story, it cracks me up. They're just high-fiving, fist-bumping each other going, finally, there was a bro moment.
ASHA's helped my life because through sharing these stories at schools like this, it's helped me heal and come to terms with my own story.
All right. Well, I want to say thank you to Gayatri for that introduction as well. And as you just heard there, and as many of us here know, is that everyone has a story. Stories can connect and comfort us in our shared struggles. They help us know that we're not alone, and they give us hope. They help us cope, survive, and of course, thrive. Our stories are our superpower. That is what we believe here at ASHA International. And we believe that our stories have the power to create social change and save lives. In May 2020, in celebration of Mental Health Awareness Month, we launched the My Story, My Superpower movement. It was to normalize conversations about mental health and inspire hope and well-being, of course, one story at a time. With over 150 stories of courage, hope, and resilience to date, we are ending the stigma and shame surrounding mental illness and giving hope to those who are struggling. We're helping build communities of empathy, support, and inclusion where all of us can thrive. Please visit the myasha.org to see many of these stories, and if you're so inclined, feel free to share your story and help amplify this message. At ASHA International, we are acutely aware of the significant barriers to mental health faced by underserved and underrepresented communities, immigrants, refugees, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and the LGBTQ+ community. And we are dedicated to empowering them to share their stories, inspire hope, and ignite change. This is something that we have always been dedicated to doing. On September 18th, I referenced this earlier, it was just less than a month ago, women from across cultures came together to share their stories at our 3rd annual Grit and Grace Conference. 350 people from across the US and around the world joined us on that day for an inspiring and empowering day filled with different speakers. And get this, another 390 people registered from countries as far as India, Kenya, Nigeria, Bulgaria, and Singapore. And they registered to watch the conference at a different time, of course, because of the time zone differences there. Over and over, and you saw this probably in the beginning reel, participants of our program thank us for sharing diverse stories to inspire hope and ignite change. That's what we're all about. Now, I'm delighted to introduce to you one of our youth storytellers, Natalie Robinson. She was featured in the video that you just saw. Natalie is a senior at Sunset High School. She is passionate and she wants to use her creativity to make the world a better place. She loves her family and her friends and hopes one day to write for a living. Welcome, Natalie.
I have a clear memory of the first time I thought of taking my own life. And even though it scared me, the thought was in my mind and it felt like it would never go away. The idea that I could stop my own heart or keep myself from breathing with such a small action absolutely terrified me. But at the same time, I was obsessed with the idea of it. I was 14 years old. Of course, those feelings didn't emerge overnight. For as long as I can remember, I have dealt with mental health issues. At 4 years old, I was in occupational therapy to deal with my high sensitivity to new sounds, tastes, textures, and environments. Then, when I was 6 or 7, I was officially diagnosed with OCD and anxiety. And now I have been in one type of therapy or another for nearly 10 years. Most people have heard of OCD, and it's often joked about when people are really tidy. But there's so much more to it than having a compulsion to wash your hands 10 times before eating a meal. For some people, this may be the case, but for me, it's a little bit different. I worry my brain is going to make me do stupid or violent things, like start screaming in the middle of the hallway at school or walk right into the middle of traffic. But it's not just in my head. I often have to redo whole sections of my notes or even multiple pages if I don't like the way they look. It's time-consuming, but it's a compulsion, and that's why I do it. I also have an issue with skin picking, and more recently, hair pulling. My skin picking has led to open wounds, sometimes with blood, and if I don't control pulling my hair, it could lead to some baldness, which I really don't want to deal with. The hardest time in my life was middle school. I had some great friends, but there were a few kids who didn't treat me very nicely. They would tease me because I never cursed and do things in class to annoy me. This took a huge toll on my self-esteem, and by the time I was 13, I started showing symptoms of depression. I had been seeing my current therapist for a few years, and she immediately started helping me cope with it. Sadly, I became more depressed, and it really started to interfere with my daily life. It got to the point where I couldn't go to school or after-school activities because of my anxiety. And staying home so much only made my depression worse. It even led me down a path I never thought possible. I started to have thoughts of suicide, feeling like all my friends in the world had forgotten about me and that I had no purpose. I felt empty, and sometimes it felt like my world was spinning out of control. This feeling started to lessen when school got out, and eventually, with a combination of medication and therapy, I started to climb out of that deep hole of depression. But my constant companion, anxiety, never left my side. I was nervous about high school approaching and worried that I wouldn't get better by the time school started. During that summer, I was a counselor at a day camp, a summer activity I've always looked forward to. But on the fourth day of camp, I was too anxious to go. So I grabbed some scissors and started making scratches on my arms while my dad waited for me in the car. My parents got me in with my therapist later that day, and I remember the exact words she used to turn my life around. If you had cut any deeper, you could have hit a vein and died. At this moment, there was nothing I wanted more than to get better. And I did. I finally started using my coping skills, my doctor tweaked my medication, and I started attending weekly group therapy sessions with other teenage girls suffering from mental health conditions. And still, most people would have no idea what I've been through. From the outside, I look just like every other kid. I hang out with my friends. I read books. I go to movies and listen to music. I'm involved in school activities like track and student leadership. I do all those things while continuing to fight daily anxiety and occasional bouts of depression. I'm fortunate that I'm better at using my coping skills when I'm feeling more anxious or depressed, and can usually get myself feeling grounded again. I'm so proud of how far I've come. I speak openly about my anxiety and depression to my friends, family, and teachers. This has given me an amazing support system, but I've also learned to manage my feelings better. If I feel myself getting depressed, I'll do things to change it. If my anxiety and OCD is going crazy, I use my coping skills. Now, instead of spending all the day in bed, I run track, I write for a local magazine, I hang out with friends and family, I got my driver's license, I'm part of my school's leadership program, and I have a bright future. I never thought this would happen, but it did, just because I held on for a bit longer. I've learned that none of this has destroyed me or my desire to live my life to the fullest. And while I know that I may never beat anxiety and depression, I'm equally confident that it won't beat me. It was only recently that I became interested in educating others about mental health, but I have gained so much knowledge about how important it is. If we don't talk about it, we're just feeding the never-ending cycle of silence and isolation. Talking about mental health is still a taboo among many parts of society, and far too many people don't seek the help they need. My grandmother is one of the many people who didn't get treatment for decades. She used to live with my parents, sister, and I, but because her depression got so bad, we had to move her to a small adult care home. But it's just not my grandmother. Mental health issues and alcoholism are scattered throughout my family tree over many generations. They didn't speak about their troubles. They certainly didn't stand up in front of a room full of strangers and share their most vulnerable thoughts. I want to break that cycle. I know I'm not the only teen who suffers from mental illness. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 1 in 5, or 15 million American children and young adults struggle with mental illness or a learning disorder, and suicide is the second leading cause of death among that age group. This tells us that mental illness is no small issue. Luckily, organizations like ASHA give me hope that those of us suffering from mental illness will find strength and comfort from society rather than fear and isolation. I know I'm not alone when I say that my mental health has been up and down these past few months. A global pandemic, political and social change, and some wildfires will do that too. I'm dealing with the fact that my senior year of high school will be really different and that I'm hopefully going off to college next year. With all that is going on in the world and change in my life, I know that many people's mental health is declining, whether they already had issues with it in the past or not. If you or someone you know is struggling, I urge you to get help or to be part of that person's support system. When it comes to shattering the stigma around mental health, we need to work together. We need to be kind and check in on the ones we love. If we work together, I know we can break the cycle that has taken so many lives. For those of you who have donated already, thank you. For those of you who are considering a donation tonight, I want you to know that your gift makes it possible for people like me to share my story and impact other lives by giving hope, comfort, and strength. Your gifts make a huge difference in the lives of so many people in our community. By making a gift tonight, you are helping end the stigma around mental health and giving hope to people like me and every person who gets to hear an ASHA storyteller like myself. Thank you so much for letting me share my story.
Thank you so much, Natalie, for sharing your story once again with everyone and putting it so eloquently and explaining what it's been like for the past 6 months, talking about how there are struggles, before the pandemic and then during the pandemic. Those are different. Their struggles are different, and we appreciate you shining a light on them. So thank you. And like Natalie said, now is the time for you to give. So storytellers just like Natalie can continue their work with the Let's Talk About Mental Health program in schools, the workplace, and also in our communities. Your gift also supports our My Story, My Superpower movement, which I mentioned earlier, and our My Story, My Superpower high school clubs. You can find a link to donate again right there in the chat box, or you can visit myasha.org/give if you would like to give a gift. You can also pay by check, or again, you can make a pledge. Just please call Ashley Schmidt. Again, her number is right there on the screen for you. If you would like to pay by check or make a pledge, do the same thing. And if you want to make a pledge, please feel free to chat us in the chat box and let us know your name and your donation amount, and we will follow up post-event to complete your donation. I know there have already been a few people who have done that, so thank you so much for doing that. I know we have a lot of people watching tonight that give through their employer to ensure their gift is matched. I want to thank those of you who choose to give in that way. Please feel free, again, to let us know right there in that chat box of your intentions to make a gift through your employer, or again, you can call Ashley. Here's a little perspective as to where your money goes. Your donation of $25, that will help fund the videotaping of one storyteller. A donation of $50 will help set up a new storyteller profile online. $100, well, that will fund the training of one new storyteller, just like Natalie, helping those storytellers share their story, and so they are comfortable to share it in front of so many people, just like Natalie was. A donation of $250 covers the storyteller fees for one class. And $500, well, that funds the My Story, My Superpower high school club at a local high school. We've been working really hard at ASHA International to start these clubs in our local high schools. And $1,000, if you are able to do that, that will sponsor the Let's Talk About Mental Health program in 4 high school classes. We welcome donations, of course, of any amount and appreciate each and every gift. All our programs have been adapted for virtual outreach to give hope and help to people during these difficult times. We are adapting during COVID-19, just as I'm sure all of you are. Our goal tonight, I mentioned this earlier, is to raise $40,000, and it will support our youth mental health programs. And we're excited to share that we have already raised over $20,000, so we're more than halfway there. And with your help, we can reach this next goal, and we can expand our outreach to reach even more schools, even more students, and we can continue to educate and empower people all across our area into the 2020-2021 school year. We We've already received a lot of very generous donations, so I'm going to go online and read a few of them for you, because if you donate, you have the option to explain why. Right now, we have seen them coming in over the past few minutes. Just 2 minutes ago, we had a generous donation of $250 from an anonymous source, so thank you so much. Tom says thank you for all of you. Another $250 anonymous donation, and that person says, it's my great honor to get to support the wonderful work of ASHA. Someone else said, I believe in what you are doing, keep progressing. Let's see, there were a few other donations a few days ago too that I wanted to get to. 2 days ago, Matt and Angie said, we believe in the power of this program to make a lasting impact in the lives of our youth, and we need it now more than ever. Go team ASHA International. We could not agree anymore. So thank you if you have already donated. Again, if you are willing to go into the chat box and make a pledge, please do that. Please do that as well. And of course, we cannot thank you all enough for your generous donations and your generosity throughout all of this. We know many of you here have been supporting us for years, so thank you. You can continue to give throughout the rest of this event and after, but now we would like to celebrate our awardees. This is one of my favorite parts of this event, because we get to celebrate people out in the community who are sharing our mission. Each year, we honor an individual for their exceptional courage and resilience in overcoming mental illness and inspiring others with hope on their journey to recovery and well-being. This year, we are more than delighted to give this award to Hoda Abuwaj. She is an incredible young woman. She shares her story of exceptional courage and resilience in overcoming mental illness and inspiring others with hope on their journey as well. Hoda is a bright student, she's a born leader, but when she was in 6th grade, things took a turn for the worst. She was sexually assaulted by a family friend. Thoughts of self-hatred, shame, and depression flooded her. Suicidal thoughts consumed Hoda for years. As she struggled to get through her everyday life, that was constantly what she was thinking about. In high school, this is the incredible part, she finally confided in a teacher. She got the help she needed to recover and to help pursue her dreams. Hoda wanted to share her story, to give hope to fellow students, and to let them know that no matter what their struggles are, they were not alone. And she wanted to empower them to do just what she did, to speak up and to get help. As an ASHA storyteller and the captain of the My Story, My Superpower Club at her high school, Westview, Hoda inspired thousands of people, students, staff, and community members during the 2019-2020 school year. We'd like to share a short film about her impact, because by trade I'm a journalist and I work for K2, and I was able to share the incredible work she did at Westview High School because of the My Story, My Superpower Club up there. So take a listen.
If I can turn my struggles into something positive for someone else, then I'll do it.
Happening this week, Westview High School is hosting a mental health week. A student developed it for her senior project. K2's Genevieve Rayom shows us how her voice is changing other people's lives.
With just over 2,400 students, Westview High School is one of the biggest schools in the state.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna, can you?
But there's one young woman who certainly does not get lost in the crowd.
This is a pretty powerful girl.
1, 2.
Hoda Abuwaj is a senior who spearheaded the idea of a mental wellness week. It's never been done here before.
Hi!
She struggled with depression, anxiety. She nearly took her life in 7th grade. But last year, when she finally broke her silence and found someone here to listen, it saved her.
I have scars on my body that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life, and I wanna make meaning out of them.
From that moment on, she made a commitment to talking about it. Through ASHA International, a local mental health organization, she shared her story with thousands of peers.
To know that I am making a difference in another student's life, that's why I do it.
And earlier this year, with the staff at her own school.
I've had teachers be like, I look at my students differently now because of your story.
With some help from the ASHA Club at Westview, she crafted the week. There are resource tables and daily challenges. Staff will even share their own mental health battles.
That it's okay to tell somebody that I just don't feel good.
It's all so kids know the power of their voices.
We wouldn't be even close to where we are
if you are sharing your story and challenging us daily to make sure that we're doing the right work. So, true.
Thank you. Thank you.
Although planning something like this can be very complex, Hoda's hope is that students here at Westview continue this mental wellness week even after she's graduated. In Northwest Portland, Genevieve Rayom, K2 News.
Well, congratulations to Hoda. It was my honor to get to meet her there and get to share her story at Westview. She is an incredible young woman. There is no doubt about that. And she, right there at the end there, you saw that really special moment between her and a school administrator. She's inspired even the adults in her community by sharing her story and by speaking up. So Hoda, we are so proud of you. Thank you for being a part of our community. We are beyond grateful for all that you do here at ASHA as well as in your school to enrich your community. So congratulations.
Thank you all so much for this award. It honestly means so much to me. When I first started crafting this wellness week for my high school, I didn't even think I would be even close to being here. It started off as a small idea in my head, and here we are today. Sharing my story has meant so much to me. It has helped me get over so much in my life. It has helped me process so much, and it has helped me get to where I am today. It has helped me be successful. It has helped me power through a lot of my hard moments in my life. And watching my community grow and become more open-minded when it comes to the idea of mental health is so amazing. And watching my teachers be more open-minded and watching my teachers and my friends share their stories is honestly incredible. And I just could not do that without ASHA. So thank you, ASHA, and thank you all so much for this award.
Well, all of our thanks go to you, Hoda. Again, I cannot say enough wonderful things about her. She is an incredible storyteller, just like Natalie, as you heard from earlier. And your donations here, they will help fund those storytellers. They will help them share their stories. So again, if you are able, please make sure you give your donation, or at least put the pledge there in the chat box so we're able to see it. I want to see if we have any other new donations here. Let's take a look online. I know that we had people joining us from both as far away as North Carolina as well as India, and then of course some people from Beaverton and the Portland area as well. So thank you so much for all of you who are joining us from your homes today. We sincerely appreciate it. I love hearing from you guys in that chat box. But again, yeah, we're continuing to see donations come in. You guys, thank you so much. Again, if we remember what your donations go towards, you know, a donation of, you know, $25 to $1,000 can help fund what Hoda and what Natalie are doing in schools. And I can tell you, seeing those storytellers in action, I can tell you it makes an incredible difference. You see the impact that these storytellers have nearly immediately. And if it's not immediately, you definitely see it in their review forms, because after every event in a school, students will fill out a form, and we have the privilege of being able to read them, and it is definitely very, very moving. So we know that these kids, these storytellers, are having a huge impact. So again, that is what your money, your donations, your gifts are supporting. Let's move on to our next award. We know that every child needs a hero. Each year we honor educators and counselors who have been a hero in addressing mental health and well-being needs of their students. This year, ASHA International is delighted to honor Jared Agard, an art teacher and PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Lab's mentor at the Health and Sciences School. And his students, Eduardo Escobar, Sophie McDonough, Zagros Rostrami, Grace Christie, Isaac Thomas, Manny Vega, and Juliana Ivkin. They are all winning the 2020 Mental Health Hero Awards, the Well-Beings Award-winning story that we saw at the beginning of the event. Battling Suicide Through Storytelling, that's the title. It shined a light on the critical issues of youth mental health, and it amplifies the voices of youth who are sharing their stories to promote mental well-being, and most importantly, to prevent suicides. Thanks to each and every one of you for being a mental health hero.
Hi, my name is Jared Agard, and I am honored to be the recipient of ASHA International's 2020 Mental Health Heroes Award. We really enjoyed making our film with student reporting labs about ASHA International and the work they do, and encouraging students everywhere to get help when they need it. I am really, really thankful to be working with such a great group of students and also with PBS Student Reporting Labs to be able to show everyone how important great news is, and also to be able to do stories like the one we did about Asha International and let students know that no matter how dark they feel things are, that there's always people out there who care about them and always people out there who will listen to them. And again, I'm so grateful to work with such wonderful students. And speaking of wonderful students, here's our lead reporter from the story, Eduardo Escobar.
I want to thank Asha International for awarding me the Mental Health Hero 2020 award. I feel very honored to accept this award, and I really want to thank everyone at Asha International, but especially Gayatri, for allowing us to interview her and sharing us all these wonderful stories, and with many of the other interviewers that we interviewed, for sharing us these amazing stories and allowing us to spread the word about this organization and about mental health in general. I've always cared about mental health, and I wanted it to be a subject that we looked more about, and I'm very grateful for this award. It makes me feel like my work out there has made an impact, and it makes me feel very happy. And I want to thank everyone at Asha, and especially Gayatri, for allowing us to make an impact out there.
Well, Eduardo, if you are here online with us tonight, I can tell you that your work is certainly making an impact. As a journalist, I full-heartedly believe in what you are doing, and it is so important to share these stories. For so long, mental health wasn't really something that journalists touched on. It was actually under professional guidance that we didn't talk about it because there was a fear that it would increase suicidal ideations. That has since turned the other way, and now we are talking about it more, and it takes a lot of bravery not only to tell those stories as Eduardo did, but also to share your stories, as we've seen both Hoda and Natalie doing. All right, let's move on to our next and last award here. Every cause needs a champion. Thanks to everyone at, of course, PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs for championing youth mental health. Together, we are normalizing conversations about mental health and inspiring hope and well-being, of course, one story at a time. Together, we are changing the culture surrounding mental health and building communities of empathy, support, and inclusion where we can all thrive. Asha International is delighted to honor the PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs with our 2020 Champions of Change Award. Accepting the awards are Eli Kintish, Youth Media Producer, Student Reporting Labs with PBS NewsHour, as well as Leah Clapman, Managing Editor of Education and creator of PBS NewsHour Student Reporting Labs, a video journalism training initiative in over 150 schools and 46 states that translates NewsHour values of excellence, responsibility, and trust into an innovative project-based learning program. It is certainly incredible. Congratulations to all.
Thank you so much for this honor. We at Student Reporting Labs are in awe of the work that Asha does and the stories that you're telling in this world. I especially want to thank the students who produced this story. They are at the Health and Science High School in Beaverton, Oregon. So Eduardo Escobar, Grace Christie, Manny Vega, and Isaac Thomas, and their teacher, Jared Agard, who found this story and brought it to us. Student Reporting Labs is in 165 schools across the country, and every year we bring together teenagers in the program to tell us what stories they want to cover in their community, and mental health is becoming increasingly a very important topic for our young student journalists. And what I love about Asha is that you are really leading the way and showing us how to tell these personal and painful and mostly hopeful stories. The modeling that you do is incredibly important for our students because it shows what honesty and bravery look like. So thank you so much for this award. It means so much to us, and keep shining the light on mental health and what youth across the country are going through. Thank you.
We cannot thank all of you guys enough for being here tonight. I think Gayatri is going to join us once more, but before she pops on, I want to read a few more of the notes that came with some of the donations, so you can hear from other people who have donated. There's some really incredible sentiments here. So we've got one person who said, to support the developing mental health of the child and youth is a precious privilege. Of course, we could not agree more with that one. We also had somebody say, thank you for all you are doing to support our children and your programs. I like this one from Diane. She's a board member, but she says, to rekindle the spark of hope within is to light up the spirit and give it wings. Thank you, Asha, for all that you inspire. We cannot thank you again, all of you guys, for sharing this moment with us, for being here virtually with us during this 2020 celebration of hope, and of course, for pledging your donations. It helps us continue doing what we love and what we believe in. Of course, the goal here is together, we want to normalize conversations of mental health. We want to give hope, we want to change lives, and we want to do it, of course, one story at a time. Again, we want to thank Natalie for taking the time to share her story with us tonight, and all of our award recipients for all of the work that they are doing. You can continue to give after tonight's live stream ends by visiting myasha.org/give. You can also pay by check or make a pledge. Again, you can just call Ashley at 503-267-0146. You can find all of the links to donate right there in the chat box. So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night, a wonderful rest of 2020, and enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you soon.
Well, if I just wanted to add to all of your incredible stories and courage and hope and compassion that we have shared along this evening, and thank every one of you for joining us. We could not do this without you. Thank you so much for your love and support, especially now more than ever before. So thank you. I love you all. Be safe, stay well. Bye-bye.